Nation Radio is always there to serve you, and we're just here to talk some serious business or play it like it never was. We want to make life as simple as possible, as knowledgeable as possible, as informative as possible, as entertaining as possible, and as my friend used to say, as educational or educative as possible. But in every situation, we want to make sense out of what we discuss. And today, we are discussing some very serious but also very informative issues. But first, this is the Black History Month in the United States of America. And that means that this is the month that we look at a lot of things in favor, I would like to say, of the average African American person. And also we remember Martin Luther King. So many quotations from him, the man who fought like no other person to ensure that one day all men will be regarded as equal. Not my words, not his exact words, but my understanding of the way it works. Today I have a guest, and this guest is a very special friend of mine. He's also a special guest. His name is Micheal H Burner, retired Assistant Special Agent in charge, Federal Bureau of Investigation. What? Yes, FBI. FBI. Never heard of that before, but he's a retiree, so don't worry about anything. It's just part of our business being here. And Mike is going to share with us the whole concept and experiences of the Black History Month in the U.S. and how it transcends to other parts of the world, how African Americans are faring, and also, I tell you, his experiences working with the FBI. And right now, I can just do a short one by saying Mr. Burner entered on duty as a special agent of the FBI on September 15, 1985, and was assigned to the Indianapolis Division Gary Residency Agency from 1986 to 1990, where he specialized in public corruption investigations. That's a good one. Now, I don't want to go into all the details, but I tell you, he's gone to places like Jamaica, Haiti, the Cayman Islands, the Turks, Caicos Islands, and Belize. He's also worked briefly in Nigeria before, and currently, see, I'm editing. In January 2012, Mr. Burner retired from the FBI and subsequently joined the Department of State/Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs as a counter-narcotics advisor. He began service with the INL in February 2012, working primarily with Nigeria's National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, in capacity building and training initiatives. Mr. Burner's efforts with the NDLEA have been concentrated on developing a new top-to-bottom training curriculum for the agency and transforming the agency from a strictly reactive drug enforcement respondent to an intelligence-led proactive agency. That sounds promising, interesting, and I must say encouraging. Well, Mr. Burner, no, let me say Mike, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Sonny. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Now, being with FBI, that sounds rather interesting. How would you want to recount your experience?
I would say that it was a wonderful experience. I enjoyed every bit of it. I don't think I had a bad assignment at all ever with the FBI. It was just a pleasure to be able to work with them, and we feel as though that it's one of the top law enforcement agencies in the world. Okay. So to be able to be a part of that agency was very special to me. And then in the FBI, we call the FBI family. We really stick together. Yeah. We take care of each other, and it was just, like I said, it was a dream to be able to become an agent and to work with them and to spend 26 years in the department.
26 years.
26 years.
Quite some good time.
Yes.
And in retirement, when you look back, do you think you miss the profession?
I don't miss the profession. I get a chance to work with a very good agency, the NDLEA. I get to use the resources that I had with the FBI in my experience to be able to help them. Okay. So I still have a connection to law enforcement. So I don't miss it too much.
Okay. Well, I'll take us to first, because we're going to come back to NDLEA much later. But let's take you to the Black History Month.
Yes.
Every year, the American Embassy in Nigeria celebrates it. It's a very powerful activity here.
Yes.
I've been part of it once in a while myself. Now, to me, let me just quickly recount some of the historical facts. For example, Abbey Lincoln, 2nd February 2014, President Abraham Lincoln, 1850 to 1862, the 16th U.S. President Abbey Lincoln is regarded as one of America's greatest heroes due to both his incredible impact on the nation and his unique appeal. He's a remarkable story of the rise from humble beginnings to achieve the highest office in the land. The Emancipation Proclamation that he signed freed American blacks from bondage. That's the key line there. Abbey Lincoln signed a document that freed American blacks from bondage. That on the first day, and I'm quoting now the Emancipation Proclamation, that on the first day of January in the year of our Lord 1863, all persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States, shall be thenceforth and forever free, and the executive government of the United States, including the military and naval authority thereof, will recognize and maintain the freedom of such persons, and will do no act or acts to repress such persons or any of them in any efforts they may make for their actual freedom. When you first heard this, what was your reaction many centuries later?
It was a very powerful act that President Lincoln had to do. It took a lot of strength and a lot of courage for him to do it, because it literally tore the country apart. And it was what the Civil War was fought over. And as a result, millions of Americans lost their lives to fight for this, for the freedom of African Americans. But it made the country stronger.
It made it stronger. And then, how do you recall Martin Luther King?
I grew up in the 60s, and so
you don't look it though.
So the visual images of what was going on in the South and what Dr. Martin Luther King was doing was things that I grew up with and things that I saw firsthand. And it was very difficult when he was assassinated, because he was a very powerful leader, powerful spokesman for the black community. Okay.
Now, I remember the most popular one, the one that says, "I have a dream that one day my children and so on will be." Now, when I listen to that statement, I feel as if Africans themselves have done so much evil, excuse my heavy-duty word there, by even allowing us to sell or give away our blood. Now, that statement takes us back more than 400 years. So how do you think an average African American will react towards an African person?
There's been a resurgence of pride in African Americans, and we don't look to Africa as a place where we were stolen from. We looked to a place that we would go back home to. I've talked to a number of people who, when they come to Africa in different places, they're coming back to be able to connect, not as a separation, but a connection to where we originally came from.
And that connection gives a sense of hope.
Yes.
For all of them to now say, well, we'll come back to where we started from, and you're back home.
I think that every African American should make the pilgrimage back to Africa.
How do you feel coming back?
It's the first time I was here was back in 2001.
13 years ago.
Yes. And first of all, I was amazed at how similar the African culture and the West Indian Jamaican culture is. And for me, when I realized that, I said, we lost a lot as African Americans in our assimilations to become Americans and be accepted by American society. We lost a lot of their culture because it's still there in Jamaica, it's still there in Haiti, it's still in the West Indies that are majority black countries.
Yeah.
So to be able to come back and then to be able to experience this firsthand and then to learn all these things was very, very powerful.
I'm looking at an African American and saying to myself, oh, wait, let me go back a bit. You used to be called Black Americans.
Black Americans.
When did this whole thing change to African American?
Again, and
I made a faux pas once. And I was corrected so boldly, and I said, sorry. Yes, when did you change that?
Well, we went from Negroes back in the 50s and early 60s to the Black Power movement when we wanted to be called black.
Yeah.
And then from there to the Enlightenment movement where we then turned to African Americans.
Good. And you feel more comfortable with that now?
Yes.
Now, continuing your experience in Nigeria, how long did you stay the first time?
First time I was here for 3 years.
3 years. When you were asked to go back, what did you feel like?
Well, actually, I went directly from here to South Africa. So I stayed
you
in
were still
Africa. I stayed in Africa continent, and the reason was because again I was enjoying my experience, and I got a chance to experience so much. I visited and worked in so many countries because when I was here in Nigeria, I had responsibility for Ghana, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and
practically all the English-speaking West African countries.
Yes, and the Gambia. And then down in South Africa, I was in working in 16 different countries. So I had again a huge experience and a lot of opportunities to visit and then to learn the different cultures within Africa. In the United States, people still think that Africa is one country. Some people don't realize that it's made up of so many different
one
countries.
Huge continent country. Your job, doesn't it affect you in a way socially? I mean, what does your job? How do you, when you meet people, how do you think they see you when they say I work? I don't think you say I work for the FBI.
No, I did, and because when I was here as a representative for the FBI in the state. So, I was always public about what I did.
Good.
And I spent a lot of time bringing the resources to the FBI to the different agencies that I was working with, so to be able to provide assistance and provide training. So I don't think that at any time did I not say that I was working for the FBI. And a lot of times, most people were very acceptive of it because a lot of people have never met FBI agents before. So,
except in the movies and
exactly.
novels. Yes, right. I'm thinking that for somebody who works for the FBI, being in another country, probably will be just for information gathering, intelligence, and all of that. But was there some kind of relationship between the home country, that's the Nigerian nation, and the American? Did you play that kind of role in the relationship?
Yeah, my primary responsibility was to be able to assist in any investigation that the FBI had that had any connection to Nigeria.
Okay.
So if we were looking for a certain person, or if there was particular evidence that we needed back in the United States for an investigation, it would be my job to be able to try to be able to get that through the various agencies that I worked through. And the same thing, if Nigeria had someone or something that they needed investigated in the United States, they could come to me, and then I could send that information back to the United States, and then have an agent go out there and do the investigation and send back the information to me.
And this helps in the fight against international terrorism,
it helps in
crimes,
the fight
and
against
all of that.
All international crimes.
Okay, let me take you back to History Month again, because this History Month, there's something I'm really driving at. The African American is one person who is a major recipient of the need for freedom and things like that. All right? But if I asked myself to vote, the African American didn't have the power to vote for so many years. So now I'm seeing a situation where freedom from 1863, I think it was, Abbey Lincoln. I like to call him Abbey, fondly. it also paved the way for the beginning of the average African American to be exposed to the power to vote.
Yes.
One man, one vote.
Yes.
In your time, in your growing years, what was your experience that you would not have liked to recount as per elections, voting, the power to vote?
I would say that by the time that I was of voting age, things had changed by that point. We were seeing more people getting out there to vote and more registration drives. I think that prior to that would be a more salient point to talk about when the Civil Rights Act was first initiated back in 1963, and it was done so in order to bring the rights of all people in the end discrimination against race, ethnic, religion, and that was supposed to make sure that ensure us to the right to vote. But it didn't. There were some states that still were having voting rights polls, or they were not allowing blacks to register as they were supposed to. And that's what started in the following year, March 7th of 1965, was the march from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama, to force the president to initiate the voting rights. Because back then, in Alabama, only 2% of the African Americans who were eligible to vote were able to get registered to vote.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we're just going to take a short break now, and there's a song you chose. I laughed when I saw it. Dear My by Tupac.
When I was young, me and my mama had beef, 17 years old, kicked out on the streets. Though back at the time, I never thought I'd see her face. Ain't a woman alive that could take my mama's place. Suspended from school, I'm scared to go home. I was a fool with the big boys, breaking all the rules. Shed tears with my baby sister. Over the years, we was poor than other little kids. And even though we had different daddies, the same drama when things went wrong, we blame mama. I reminisce on the stress I caused. It was hell, hugging on my mama from a jail cell. And who thinking elementary? Hey, I see the penitentiary one day. Running from the police, that's right. Mama catch me, put a whooping to my backside. And even as a crack fiend, mama, you always was a black queen, mama. I finally understand, for a woman it ain't easy trying to raise a man. You always was committed, a poor single mother on welfare. Tell me how you did it, there's no way I can pay you back. But the plan is to show you that I understand. You all appreciate it. Don't you know we love you, sweet dear mama. No one above you, you all appreciate it. Don't you know we love you? Now ain't nobody tell us it was fair. No love from my daddy, cause the coward wasn't there. He passed away and I didn't cry, cause my anger wouldn't let me feel for a stranger. They say I'm wrong and I'm heartless, but all along I was looking for a father, he was gone. I hung around with the thugs, and even though they sold drugs, they showed a young brother love. I moved out, started really hanging. I needed money of my own, so I started slanging. I ain't guilty, cause even though I sell rocks, it feels good putting money in your mailbox. I love paying rent when the rent's due. I hope you got the diamond necklace that I sent to you. Cause when I was low, you was there for me. You never left me alone because you cared for me. And I can see you coming home after work late. You're in the kitchen trying to fix us a hot plate. You're just working with the scraps you was given. And mama made miracles every Thanksgiving. But now the road got rough, you're alone. You're trying to raise two bad kids on your own. And there's no way
Tupac. Till today, Tupac is still regarded as one of the greatest African American musicians. Well, when I saw what I knew of Tupac, he wasn't very complimentary. But I found out that almost all the youths went for him. So how come you too? You kind of loved him, man.
I kind of discovered him late. It was after he had died, and I started listening to some of his songs and realized how relevant they were. Pretty relevant.
Absolutely. So you were talking about elections and the Alabama experience?
Yes, so I was talking about Selma, Alabama, the march from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama. The first attempted march ended in violence, and it was called Bloody Sunday, where a number of the marchers were attacked by the police as they were leaving Selma, Alabama. And the Dr. Martin Luther King was not there that day, but came in, and later on they were able to do the march again. And they completed the march. It was 50 miles from Selma to Montgomery, and that was what really, after that, President Johnson signed the legislation, the Voting Rights Act.
Okay.
But interesting thing about that was when I was with the FBI does their own discrimination investigations. If someone in the FBI feels they've been discriminated against, they have agents who will go out and investigate that discrimination complaint. Well, in 1996, I was asked to go to Alabama to do a discrimination investigation. And ironically enough, the person who felt discriminated was a white agent. And they sent me to do the investigation.
And the discrimination was against by whom? Who caused the discrimination?
He felt that he was being discriminated against by his managers.
By his managers, and who were equally white.
Who were equally white.
Okay.
But the irony of it was that I had to go from Montgomery, Alabama, to Selma, Alabama, and as I'm driving the road, I'm thinking of the irony. Now here is an African American man going to Selma, Alabama to investigate a discrimination complaint by a white agent. But as I'm driving, the scene that I'm looking at is the same road, the same streets, the same bridge, Edmund Pettus Bridge, that the marchers with Dr. Martin Luther King crossed, and it looks exactly the same as it did back in 1960. It's almost like time stopped there. The country moved on, but Selma, Alabama seems as if time stopped there. It was very ironic, but it was very heartening to be able to do so, because I saw those things happening on TV, and then to be able to go there in person and see this is where this took place. It was very emotional for me.
Let me bring the African experience, probably the Nigerian experience. When elections are mentioned here, we expect a lot of things. From, is it going to be election free and fair? Phrases like free and fair very commonly used here. Okay?
Right.
Now, whether it is free or free and fair, we don't know. But there's always a kick against the results of the elections. And that is, oh, no. Because it's not in my favor, it cannot possibly be free and fair. How would you look at that aspect of that? You've worked in Nigeria, but I'm not sure if you worked in an election year in Nigeria, but I'm sure you've been seeing and reading stories about elections in African countries. Yes. What would you have to say about that?
I haven't been here during election year, but yes, when we talk about free and fair, we're talking about, one, every individual who is registered to vote and who goes out to vote gets a chance to vote, and that their vote is counted. And fair is that you don't have people who are stuffing the ballots, people who are denying other people access to the ballots, people who are threatening other people from going out to vote. So when we talk about free and fair, we're talking about every person who wants to vote, who has been registered to vote, has a right to vote, gets a chance to vote, to express their selection of who they want for that office.
Okay.
And again, like I said, the fair point.
Did I hear you use the word selection?
Selection.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. All right. What about when it comes to you have no way of determining whether it's free or fair?
We actually have,
especially go on.
A lot of times we will have election monitors out there. So we'll have people who are out there at certain places.
We call them observers here.
Observers,
okay. Yes, that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then so they will report back what they saw at the precinct that they're at.
And you trust the judgment of the reporter?
A lot of times it's some Americans or someone that's from another person that's from a foreign country that's there as an independent observer.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Independent.
Yes.
Observer. Okay.
So that's the important thing.
What would you advise to, countries like ours where the norm is always there's a kick against the result, no matter who is the winner or who is the loser or perceived. What would you advise?
I would advise, again, what they've been doing and having the independent observer out there, someone who doesn't have a stake in who's elected, and to be able to say, yes, I stayed there, I saw that people had access to the voting precinct, I saw that there was no intimidation at the time, I saw that those who wanted to vote were able to vote, and that the ballots were placed in the boxes were secured, and then later turned to somewhere where the votes were then counted.
And hopefully respect for the decision that has been announced or pronounced.
Yes.
All right, can I take you back to crime a bit?
Yes.
NDLEA, drug, not just NDLEA now, but drug war is a big problem worldwide.
Yes, it is.
Okay, and I'm just wondering, with the NDLEA experience here, we know that drug war is also something here that we cannot just wish away.
Right.
How do you think we're coping, Nigeria?
I've been working with the NDLEA now closely for 2 years, and I worked with them when I was here before. It's a very good agency that's filled with men and women who are prideful for the agency that they work with.
Okay.
What they are lacking is resources, and they're facing a very uphill battle.
Would that be resources in terms of finances or facilities to work, or what?
It's resources in terms of financial, to be able to purchase the things that they need.
Okay.
So to be able to do the job right. I always feel as though if you give a person the right tools to do the job, they can do a better job. And that's what I've been trying to do with helping NDLEA, is be able to get them the tools that they need to do the job.
Are you comfortable with that? Is it going well?
I'm comfortable with it.
Are your expectations met? I'm sure. I don't expect you to say much. Yes.
No, it's going very well. I've been very well received. Some of the ideas that I have brought forth have been accepted. When you mentioned, and when you're reading my bio, that I wanted to change NDLEA from a reactive agency to an intelligence-driven, threat-driven, proactive agency, which means is that we don't wait until a person is caught going through the airport with a suitcase full of drugs. I want them to the point where they're starting to identify individuals ahead of time and identify who are the big drug barons in Nigeria, and how do we then investigate and prosecute those individuals.
But I'm worried about the kind of image Nigeria is getting as far as fighting drug is concerned. Look at other parts of the world. Nigerians don't consume drugs, not in a high percentage.
Right.
So why should Nigeria even be a transit country?
And that's the key word. Nigeria is a transit country where you have cocaine that's coming from Central and South America through Nigeria going to Europe. And the reason why is because in Central South America, you may be able to buy an ounce of cocaine for $2,000, and in Europe, you can sell it for $20,000. So it's a huge profit margin. Then you have heroin that's coming in from Asia, Southeast Asia, through Nigeria, going to Europe as well, some going to the United States. But Nigeria now is starting to become a manufacturing country for methamphetamine, and that's going to Southeast Asia.
Are you serious about that?
Yeah, so it's a very dangerous time in Nigeria because of the drug situation.
Are we going to be able to fight that?
Yes. Again, that's when I talk about being intelligence-driven threat, where you can go out and you start finding out ahead of time, where these locations are. You look at who's bringing in precursor chemicals to Nigeria, and are they using it for correct drugs, or are they using it to manufacture illegal drugs? Once you start getting information, then you can start identifying who these people are, and then do the investigation and prosecution.
My prayer is that we do not become like any of those South American countries or Mexican countries. Gosh, I don't want to think about that, because that scares me.
Yes.
Okay, it's half the hour now, and I'm going to take some calls. Whenever you feel like giving us a call, you know the number. Start calling if you have any question. And feel free, because my friend and guest today is Micheal H Burner, retired Assistant Special Agent in charge, Federal Bureau of Investigation. And for those of you who want to send messages, 33923. We're getting ready to take another break. And of course, I didn't tell you. Oh my God, forgive me. At IFM93 on Twitter and at Irabor Soni on Twitter. Don't forget, join us, tweet on, and we'll be talking to you. Hello? Yeah, hi, how are you? How are you? Yes, hello. I can hear you. Okay, you didn't hear me. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, how are you?
Hello, I'm Soni.
Hi.
Good afternoon. It's Femi.
Femi, how are you?
I'm first time caller on this show.
Okay, I can't find my bell, but I would have rung it. Go ahead. Okay.
I'm very interested in what Mr. Burner is talking about. Mr. Burner, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
What makes it very interesting is that I'm thinking of a situation where you could have maybe some people who are artificial intelligence agents who are situated in different parts, because I realize that the people are better security for themselves, and they're able to work well with the central agency, which is the NDLEA, and they probably don't wear any serious title. They are just like remote intelligence points that can relate with the central point, and it makes work easier. They just maybe have access to minimal gadgets that allow them to connect with the central. It may be over internet environments, mobile environments.
Do you want to summarize it?
You said?
Do you want to summarize your points so that it will be easier to? Yeah.
I'm thinking that maybe they could begin to look. I'm trying to ask that they look in the direction of engaging young people who live where the criminals live, or people with wrong items live, and they can also help the NDLEA nip problems with the board before it becomes a big issue for the country.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, Femi, that's a very good point. And it's one that I like to drive home when I talk to the NDLEA officers, that information can come from anywhere. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be information comes from law enforcement or information comes from your international partners. The people on the street can give you information of what's going on in the community. Local police officers can give you information that goes on within the community. Community leaders can give you information what's going on in the community. So when we talk about intelligence, we talk about going out there and talking and meeting with everybody to let them know what your mission is. And our mission is to rid the country of these dangerous drugs and the dangerous drug traffickers.
And save our kids as well.
Save our children, exactly.
Yeah.
I can't mention or dictate policy for NDLEA, but I can tell you how we did it with the FBI. When we received confidential information, we designated that person as a source, and we gave them a symbol number as opposed to their name. The name would be recorded and it would be held in confidence, but whenever the person was referred to by a symbol number which we provided to them. And it was we went through great pains to make sure that we kept their identity confidential and secret in order to protect them, because if somebody gives you information and you then divulge who the source of information is, you're never going to get any information from that person again.
Absolutely.
So,
or even from any other person.
Right. And so, I mean, and we've had so many successful cases where we've used confidential informants to work our case. And the reason why we've been able to do so is because we maintain their confidentiality.
Okay. Hi. All right. I lost you there. Yeah, I'm taking you to another level, but another call keeps coming in. Hello. How are you?
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Am I on to Inspirational Friend?
That's it.
My name is Paul Uche. I'm calling from Lagos mainland. Uncle Irabor, I just want to appreciate your good work.
Thank you, sir.
The good work you and your group has been doing. You people have made me to see radio as a school. You made Inspirational Friend a school.
Thank you, sir.
I hope you understand what I'm saying, sir.
I do. Thank you. And I really appreciate that.
We look at the program as a radio program as just hearing news, but what I've seen in the past 6 months now, just give God the glory, and I pray that God will continue to strengthen you.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
I'm very happy that you've been bringing some dignitaries to give us some information of a lot of things we don't know about our environment.
Thank you.
So I just want to say good luck for everything you're doing. And
thank you so much. Thank you.
African American who is there, I say welcome back to Nigeria, welcome back to Africa.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye, sir.
Bye. What makes you happy generally? Because your kind of job is sensitive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And it affects your social life a bit, I think.
It is sensitive, but what makes me happy is the fact that I'm able to make a difference and to be able to affect change. And that's one of the reasons why I did come back to Nigeria, because I knew that from my experience here before, that there's a lot of things that from my background and experience that I can come out and help and affect change. And so I did it the first time I was here. I worked very closely with the EFCC when they just started out. And the FBI was the first agency to come out and to lend a helping hand and to talk to them about training and talk to them about issues and to help them grow. And so I wanted to be able to come this time. Now I'm concentrating on NDLEA, and I strongly feel that between the assistance that's coming from the American government, that we'll be able to provide some assistance to NDLEA and help them grow as an agency.
Can I take you back to Obama country?
Yes.
How's Obama for you?
I was very excited about the election of President Obama to the presidency. I actually had a chance to meet him before he became president.
No kidding. I've been trying to meet him forever.
And to tell you, it's funny because I was working down in South Africa, and they were mentioning that Senator Obama was coming to South Africa. And this was back in 2006, I believe. Yes. And so I just happened to be traveling from Washington to South Africa, coming back from a training program that I had in the United States.
Yeah.
And I'm in the airport, Dulles Airport in Washington, and there's Senator Obama. He's just walking around, and we met in one of the bookstores at the terminal there, and I introduced myself. He was very personable. And we talked for a few minutes, and I asked him if he was coming to South Africa. He says, as a matter of fact, that's why I'm here at the airport. I'm going right now.
Oh, yeah.
So when he came to South Africa, the embassy hosted a reception for him, and I got a chance to meet him again, and I was able to take a picture with him.
What is it now? I'm just a bit confused because the thought of meeting Obama just took me elsewhere. But anyway, how do you cope with Obama and the Republicans, Obama, the Democrat, vis-a-vis the strong opposition that seems to have just sprung up from nowhere?
Again, and
it depends on which party you belong to.
Well, if I had to admit, I used to be a Republican.
Used to be,
and then when President Obama ran, I switched to a Democrat.
Okay.
If I had to say so, again, when we're talking about Voting Rights Act,
yes,
this is why it was so important for everyone to have an opportunity to vote, because again, the Americans elected President Obama as the president, the majority, and so even though we have the two-party system. And it seemed to be and not just seemed to be, but there is a lot of contention based on how each party feels the country should be ran.
Yeah.
Our democratic process allows things to work itself out. We saw some difficulty when the government shut down.
Yes.
It wasn't the first time. It wasn't the first time that happened.
Wow.
But it's very.
But it was a long time it took.
It was a long time it took.
Was it up to 16 days or 12 days?
Yes, I think it was somewhere around there. But again, it happened during the Clinton administration, and it was longer.
Wow. Now, what is government shutdown? Can you just enlighten us about that? Because I just imagine that happening in Nigeria. My God.
For us, it means that only the essential employees go to work. Those who are considered non-essential to the operation of that agency. Stay home there, and they're called to be placed on furlough. They're furloughed, so they're not working, and there's no guarantee they will be paid for those days that they miss.
Wow. But how do you think it's faring now, Obama?
If you look at the numbers, that you'll see that unemployment is going down, the stock market is going up.
Yeah.
the numbers of the housing prices are going back up again.
Okay.
So, over the 5-year period, I would say that the country's doing better.
The economy is getting stronger as well.
The economy is getting stronger.
Anything Nigeria can learn from that?
I think the strength from it is, again, a transparent government, and again, as you say, and democracy, getting everybody a chance to have their say, and to make sure that you have the right people in the right positions in order to move the country forward.
Okay, we're taking a last break, and we'll give you your next choice, which says, "Baby, Can I Hold You Tonight?" Tracy Chapman.
Sorry is all that you can say. Years gone by and still words don't come easily. Like sorry, like sorry. Forgive me is all that you can say. Years gone by and still words don't come easily. Like forgive me, forgive me. Say, baby, baby, can I hold you tonight? And maybe if I told you the right words, at the right time, you'd be mine. I love you. It's all that you can say. Years gone by and still words don't come easily. Like I love you, I love you. But you can say, baby, the right time, you be mine. Baby, can I hold you tonight? And maybe if I told you the right words, you be mine.
Tracy Chapman for you. Baby, Can I Hold You Tonight? And I'm just wondering what Mike Burner will be doing, just listening to this music all alone and asking himself, I want to go back to America. Do you feel that way sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes I do. Sometimes I do get homesick.
Okay, we'll try and not make that happen to you anymore. Because in Nigeria, you are a Nigerian.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, somebody just sent a tweet here saying, a tweet. I want to know what's his most challenging case in his career and how he handled it. That's a beautiful question. Thanks, man. This is Sunny Side at Gen Voices. Yes.
I would say probably one of my most challenging cases took place very early in my career. Working in Gary, Indiana, we were working a police corruption case. Okay. And in order to do the investigation, what we did was we started an undercover case and opened up an illegal gambling establishment where people would come in and gamble, and we would pay the police officers for protection to allow us to stay open. And that went on for over a year.
Must have been tough for you.
It was tough. I think the most difficult part, again, when the person talked about informants, we had a confidential informant that was assisting us, and I met with him one day at a public parking lot, and one of the police officers who we were investigating did counter surveillance and actually saw us meeting, and afterwards confronted me about it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How did you feel about that?
My heart was pounding a little bit. And again, these officers were known to be very violent at times, but it worked. I'm here today, so it worked out.
It worked out for you. We just have about 7 minutes to go, and I know there's a lot you can still do. If you want to call us, feel free, do so. You want to tweet? Go ahead and tweet. But I want to ask a question. What makes you happy?
Well, what makes me happy is being able to do work that's very satisfying.
What is very satisfying?
Very satisfying.
How do you kill your boring moments?
I do a lot of reading. I do listen to a lot of music. And then I also enjoy watching movies and some things on TV.
Movies?
Yes.
Nigerian movies?
I've seen a couple.
And what was it like for you? And which ones did you see? The classics or the?
I spent a lot of time watching movies on African Magic.
Magic, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So
did you see the Juju ones or
I've seen the Juju ones, and I've always asked, why does it seem to be such a big topic, either Juju or spousal abuse in a lot of the movies?
You want to agree with me that has been a major case in Nigeria. Spouse abuse is really so recurrent that they're making so many movies out of it.
Yes.
And talking about that, what about the United States experience? What do you want to say about that?
As far as
spouse abuse is concerned.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry about that.
It's become a very important topic for us. And before I joined the FBI, I was a police officer with the Pennsylvania State Police.
Ah, okay.
So, there was a number of times where I answered calls where there were spousal abuse. And a lot of times when I started out back in those days, and this is back in the early 80s, if the spouse who was abused did not want to file a complaint, then we were forced basically to walk away. Right. But then it developed to the point where police officers were allowed then to document the abuse. If they saw that a person had bruises or had a broken arm or something, we could document that and then take that to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor could prosecute the case even if the victim was not cooperative.
Okay, hello, how are you? Sorry. What's your name?
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Depends on what part of the world you are, yes. Good afternoon. What's your name?
This is Adi, and I'm calling from Oklahoma State, Oklahoma State, United States of America.
Oklahoma State. Okay, how are you? Yeah. Good. All right. So
I'm fine. Yeah. I just want to say hi to the guests. I just feel like calling into the program just to say hi. I've been listening to this radio station, for the past 3 days, and I love listening to it.
Thank you.
We're right here from Oklahoma, I'm Nigerian.
Oh, good. Really nice. You won't believe it, but my guest is Micheal H Burner, and his face lit up. What part of the United States are you from, by the way?
No, I'm from Philadelphia, but I was just surprised to hear somebody from Oklahoma calling into a Nigerian radio station.
Yeah, because we stream live, and we get callers from all over the world. Thank you. What's your name again? Paul what?
Adeyemi. I'm in Oklahoma State University.
Okay. All right. Anytime you're in Lagos, I want you to, reach out to Inspiration Radio, okay? All right? Adeyemi, I've put your name down. Báwo ni o? Okay, thank you so much. And have a what time is it there right now? It's 3 minutes to 4. 3 here.
It's about 8 a.m.
8 a.m. Okay. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. And I'm really thrilled about this. Have a very beautiful day. Thank you. Right. So you see, we did some magic. So what's your sign off? Well, we have just about 2 minutes to go. And what's your message? First, for the average Nigerian. Second, for that potential drug addict or cartel person. and thirdly, if you like, for the Nigerian government?
Okay. For the average Nigerian, again, I would like to say that you have a voice, and that your vote is your voice, and so that I think that they should study what the policies are, study who the candidates are, and then make an educated choice.
Okay.
For the election,
Right.
for the addicts that are out there, the drug barons. Again, NDLA has a unique mission where they assist with drug demand deduction. So they do counseling, and they have treatment centers. And again, if you have information, please feel free to call in to the state command and provide the information that you have.
All right, and so as I'm just about to conclude this program, I'm looking at Mr. Mike. Now I'm going to call you in a very formal way. Mr. Mike H Burner. What's the H about?
Oh, that's for Henry.
Henry! Okay, that's for the French. Okay, all right. So I just want to thank you for coming to this program. First thing, when we were talking about Black History Month, I had asked for any professional. Now, that's key. And when I saw your name, I saw your position, and then I said, okay, will he answer questions? Don't worry, he'll take any question. And I'm glad you took all the questions, and God bless you. And I hope you really enjoy your stay in Nigeria. And I also hope we gain from your expertise.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much.
you
It
so
was
much.
a pleasure being on the program.
One record we're going to leave for you is Notorious B.I.G. And this is Juicy.
Yeah, this album is dedicated to all the teachers that told me I never amount to nothing. To all the people that lived above the buildings that I was hustling from that called the police on me when I was just trying to make some money to feed my daughter.
Yeah.
And to all my peoples in the struggle, you know what I'm saying? It's all good, baby.
Check it.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine. Hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday, rap attack Mr. Magic Molly Mall. I let my tape rock till my tape pop. Smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on private stock. Way back when I had the red and black lumberjack with the hat to match. Remember rapping Duke? The hard, you never thought that hip-hop would take it this far. Now I'm in the limelight cause I rhyme tight. Time to get paid, blow up like the world trade. Born sinner, the opposite of a winner. Remember when I used to eat sardines for dinner? Peace to Ron G, Brucey B, Kid Capri, Funk Master Flex, Love Bug, Star Ski. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. Call a crib, same number, same hood. It's all good.